Hi, my name is Jim O'Donnell, and I am a solution engineer with SAP. Thank you all for coming out on this chilly afternoon in Chapel Hill. I appreciate your time. Today we're going to talk about SAP's vision for a digital enterprise. I'm going to start off by telling you a quick story. In 2012, Stanford President John Hennessy described the impact of impending social, economic, and technology changes as a tsunami. There's this nexus of exploding demand for education with an increasing pace of innovation in digital technologies and content that's created huge new opportunities for colleges and universities. But surviving this tsunami and emerging stronger will require adaptation of academic and business models. Universities are going to need to change how they operate those models and transform how students and faculty work. The overall goal in higher education is to make education accessible, affordable, and valuable, adding value to the individual and to the social and economic fabric. Digital technologies can contribute powerfully to these goals. I'm going to talk about a digital transformation which will allow you to reimagine business models and processes as well as your workforce. I'm going to present our perspective, SAP's perspective, on digital, based on our experiences working with educational institutions around the world. You'll hear how we helped one university move toward its goal of increased retention by 10% by overhauling how they recruit students in the first place. How we helped another drive student success through a deeper understanding of student behavior. And how we helped automate and modernize routine but necessary administrative tasks that helped another institution improve payroll processing times by over 40%. Then we look forward to hearing about your experiences and where you are on your digital journey. Colleges and universities often tell us that mission is the one big thing on their mind, and that mission does vary somewhat from school to school. For example, some have a major focus on research, and others are more focused on teaching and student success. But there are three things that most schools have in common. They need to attract and retain the right students and faculty for their specific mission. They need to understand what success means for each individual student who's admitted and provide a personalized path to achieve it. And they need to run the university in an efficient, transparent, and cost-effective manner. Now, obviously, there's a lot of ways to accomplish these goals. You, for instance, have evolved your own academic model over the years. You've probably put a lot of systems and programs in place. For instance, a system to provide advising and omnichannel ways to communicate with students. And you've taken steps to create a rich and rewarding work environment for teachers and staff. Over time, this approach leads you to create a number of stovepipes or silos or isolated processes. They're each doing their job, but they're not connected, and this is hindering your ability to achieve the mission of the university, and it limits your flexibility and agility. Now, we all know that Carolina universities are under a lot of pressure. For instance, the question of value has moved to the forefront of the conversation for higher ed. As costs rise, a lot of people are asking whether a university education is for everybody. Meanwhile, students are graduating with enormous levels of debt, or maybe not even graduating at all. At the same time, the world is becoming hyper-connected and technology-driven, and it's necessary to adapt to this new reality in order to attract and retain the best and brightest students, faculty, and administrators. And while all this is going on, the business of actually running the university has become incredibly complex. Now, these two numbers illustrate the pressure that's impacting the University of Carolina and universities throughout the state. According to retention data reported by schools across the country, up to a third of college freshmen in the U.S. fail to return for their sophomore year. And these reasons range from academic to financial and in some cases even mental health. But much of the data for understanding and let alone predicting student behavior is locked in these silos and multiple different databases. Meanwhile, the students who do stay have very different behaviors and expectations than students who came to Carolina just a few years ago. According to EDUCAUSE, 81% of higher education students use smartphones or tablets for studying in 2014, and that was an increase of 40% over the previous year. Now, many universities have responded by making learning assets and content widely available online in digital format, and many other areas of the university have been left behind. You're still doing manual reporting on spreadsheets, you're doing ad hoc approaches to employee development, and making administrators less successful and more resource dependent than really they need to be. You're also basing your planning exclusively on historical data when data is used at all, and this is a barrier to your mission. If the millennials have figured it out, it's high time the universities did as well. But the problem is that universities have tended not to adopt digitization in a holistic way. And when new problems or opportunities come up, they just take a one-off approach. And they tack on more and more silos and stovepipes. So maybe you add an e-learning platform. Maybe you use e-commerce for procurement. Maybe use smart cards to track student or employee attendance. What we hear from other colleges and universities is that they respond this way because stepping back and addressing the bigger problem is really overwhelming. There's a high cost, resources, risk, and they just look like too big a bite to take off. The challenge with the silo approach is that it actually multiplies your vulnerability to these pressures. It's making you miss out on new opportunities. You risk damaging your institution's public perception, and that can impact everything else from applications to alumni donations. All of this interferes with your ability to deliver on your mission. Now, don't get me wrong, tech is not the solution. Tech is an enabler of transformation, and it's a key to measuring the impact of transformation. But if you're going to ride the tsunami and rise to the challenge of making education affordable, accessible, and valuable, you've got to fundamentally rethink your academic models and your business models. So who, what, how you teach, what your workplace is like, how you run the college, who's your workforce, who and how do you recruit, develop, measure, and reward those people that you hire to teach and administer. Here's how you can start to make that transformation. One of the big objectives of digitization is to unlock the power of data, not just student data, but all of the data across the university system. Everything that's important to the university mission. So first you need to stop adding one-off solutions and silos. Instead, take a step back and picture what we call a digital business framework or digital enterprise framework. So this is a foundation that you can use to bring together all these different processes and systems, both transactional processes, business processes, and analytical BI, business intelligence processes. So with that, you can turn data or insights into actionable information. This is going to allow you to be more transparent and more responsive based on facts, not guesses. Now, once the platform is in place, in order to make this manageable, you start small. You can pull information from your existing sources into this common platform, and then as new issues arise, you can get more flexible. You can incrementally add connected solutions to fix new problems, and this will not be disruptive to your existing operations. Once you have the foundation in place, we call it the digital core, you're set up to address all of your issues and to give yourself the agility to handle tomorrow's challenges as they come up. So now that you're operating a little more efficiently, you can refocus your people on their mission. And then you can begin to make new connections by unlocking the insights that were buried or lost before. You can even reimagine your institution's processes in completely different ways, creating more student-centric environment that leverages technology to fundamentally change the processes of both learning and teaching. And when you tie all these knowledge sources together into a single common data platform, you'll improve how your institution, how the university serves the community here in Chapel Hill. And okay, I know that this sounds kind of futuristic and maybe like a really, really big project. As I said, we do this incrementally, and we've already worked with a number of major colleges and universities to get this process underway and to solve some real problems. So you've heard of the University of Kentucky, arch basketball rivals after Duke. So UK is focused on teaching, and they were struggling with student retention and didn't have a clear understanding of what was driving student behavior and, in fact, student failure. They used SAP HANA to identify reasons that students were considering leaving the school, and that allowed them to arrange for earlier intervention by faculty members and advisors. Real-time insight into student performance moved UK toward its goal to increase retention by 10%. That's a pretty good number. Now let's talk about the University of Mississippi. Ole Miss wanted to provide a distinct experience to their students and their community. And they foster high academic standards, but they also have, not unlike Carolina, a very strong athletic tradition, overall powerful brand, and very loyal alumni base. Ole Miss has used and extended the SAP Student Lifecycle Management solution, as well as our full suite of business solutions, running on HANA to recruit and to retain the best students and to operate an institution in a way that balances respect for the traditions of the school and still preparing for the future challenges and opportunities. And now the medical school at Cornell, they have a clear mission, and that is to win the race to cure cancer. For Cornell, improving administration is not the mission, but improving and automating administration unlocks time and resources to enable the core mission. They used SAP HANA to drastically reduce reporting in highly regulated industries of education and healthcare. They improved routine tasks like payroll processing times by 40%, and all of this was done in the cloud. So minimal investment in technology for administration, and those funds can be put back to the main goal of fighting cancer. So these are just 3 examples of how a common technology platform can help institutions like Carolina work in today's world where everything's connected and data is available everywhere. With SAP and HANA, you can discover new ways to make education more accessible, affordable, and valuable to your students and to your stakeholders. So now, how do you get started? Well, what we'd like to do is conduct a workshop, bring together your team and industry experts from SAP. We'll use that workshop to better understand your opportunities and challenges, and then we'll chart a course for your digital journey to becoming a live business. In the course of the workshop, you're going to explore how to tap into the new realities of a range of solutions in a way that makes sense for you. You'll uncover new areas, places where you can improve your performance and the processes that improve the lives of your students, faculty, and staff. And at the same time, you'll align the key stakeholders on the objectives to deliver a manageable transformation on time, budget, and value. And you'll be able to ensure institutional continuity throughout this process. I would love to sit down with Carolina and discuss further how you can reap the greatest reward from a digital transformation. And with that, I'm finished. Thank you very much for your time.